Well, looks like the case against Pornhub, Visa, with Aylo, formerly MindGeek, looks like parts of it are starting to fall apart. And, we've discussed this before. It's been a while since we talked about it. You have to take things with a grain of salt. It's innocent until proven guilty in court of law, obviously. This is not to take sides, but, I do ask questions when it comes down to how, these things are processed in, the people that, bringing up these lawsuits. And first of all, top off the bat, I'm not a lawyer. I do not sell any legal practices. I'm just basically commenting on a case that is ongoing right now. For those of you out there, I'm a person like you, me, we're just talking here. And I'm going to give you my opinion to the point onto there. And like I said, my opinions can change as if there's more evidence. But see, the most part about it is, and this is the big thing, is that the entire pornography industry has been demonized for, God, since the very beginning. And what I'm talking about is the video end of it and the magazine end of it. Not the stuff prior to it that's been in history books, Kama Sutra, and all that. That's something past tense and most of the time never discussed. Most people think that pornography just started when the video industry started to play. Porn has been around since they wrote on cave walls, because there are artifacts out there, and from many different cultures, from the Romans to the Greeks, and so on and so on. And basically, you have situations that have been in history for many, even the Japanese. When they criticize, the adult anime and manga, the hentai and stuff like that, stuff similar to that has been in the history books, going way back. Now, is there criminality in the porn industry? Same as the Hollywood industry, same as the record business, same as the video game industry. You could go down the line and look at certain things in any of these industries, and you could find something illegal as far as what goes on there. But people try to focus on there, use it to push legislation. To say, oh, all pornography is basically human trafficking. All pornography is C-SPAN. But it isn't. And they try to redefine what C-SPAN is, what human trafficking is, to that point. They say, oh, nothing but pedos and disgusting men watch pornography, which is also incorrect. There's a large group amount of women that do watch adult-related porn. There have been various articles on that. But getting back to what's going on with this case, it seems like the judge that is presiding over this has dismissed some of the claims. In other words, this case is starting to the threads are starting to get pulled on, and basically it's starting to come apart. But before we start, I just want to mention out there, thank you very much for all of you out there who have subscribed. We are well over 1,400 subscribers and growing. Thank you to those on there. And one thing I do ask you, clicking in just for a moment doesn't only help. Watch the videos. It helps our watch hours we do on there. I understand that some people may not like the content and still comment on there without going through the whole video. If you plan to comment, check out the whole video. You might be surprised. We might have the same. We might agree on the same things. You never know. So drop the comment, like, share, and hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for those who have already. And also, don't forget, check out our gear shop right now. We got t-shirts, mugs, and everything. Great. We're getting into the holiday season. Might make a great gift on there. For those of you who are against censorship, we got some great anime shirts on there, as well anime anti-censorship shirts that are available right now. Currently, 10% off with the promo code VPN10 running until the middle of the month. We might be extending that further on there, so stay tuned. If you need to know, once you go over to shopcuticast.com, top of the screen will tell you what percentages off you'll be able to get on that particular day. So, AVN article here. Judge dismisses some trafficking claims against Aylo and Visa. A federal judge dismissed some of the claims of trafficking and profiting from such illegal activities that were filed against the firm Aylo, the parent company of Pornhub and Visa, the multinational credit card processing giant, per a pair of orders issued on Monday. The plaintiff in this particular case is a woman named Serena Fletes, the subject of the controversial New York Times opinion column by contributor Nicholas Kristof, or I say an activist Nicholas Kristof, called The Children of Pornhub. In his column, Kristof used Fletes as a framing device to justify claims that Pornhub was a hotbed for illegal content, including child sex abuse material. Fletes disclosed to Kristof and in the enduring lawsuit against Aylo and Visa that she was victimized in her early teens. U.S. District Judge Wesley Hughes, if I pronounced that right, sorry if I don't, of the Central District of California, heard the lawsuit on the behalf of Fletes, who is represented by former Brown Rudnick lawyers Michael Bowe and Lauren Taskblatt of Brigham LLP and David Stein of Olsen Stein LLP. Bowe was featured in the Netflix original documentary Money Shot, the Pornhub story, as a balancing voice suing the adult entertainment industry powerhouse platform. He also served as a defense attorney at one point for U.S. President Donald Trump. Bowe and Taskblatt recently announced the launch of Brigham LLP as a boutique law firm specializing in impact litigation for various civil litigation cases. His ruled yesterday that companies Fletes accused of profiting from her explanation and being complicit in her trafficking as a young teenager were not liable on most claims initially filed when she sued several years ago. For example, Fletes' attorneys wanted to hold Visa accountable for credit card payment processing over an international network in relation to purchases made on the platform owned by Aylo, which was known back then as MindGeek. The judge dismissed most of her claims against Visa without prejudice, citing civil conspiracy under the Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act. The judge ruled that the civil conspiracy with Aylo cannot be triggered solely by knowledge and inertia. It requires affirmative alignment with the ventures of unlawful process. In simpler terms, you have to have the proof that basically the company was well in knowledge of this whole situation. If someone knew, on the staff or something like that, it doesn't constitute that to that point. There are no allegations of internal Visa communications, decision-making, or omissions reflecting an understanding of MindGeek's unlawful objectives, the judge ruled. Instead, the allegations suggest that Visa continued a pre-existing business relationship in the face of controversy. The judge refused to dismiss some of the claims against MindGeek, Aylo, which we should not be calling it MindGeek anymore, including its alleged violations of the Communication Decency Act, Law360.com reports. While the court agrees the plaintiff pleadings to MindGeek's involvement in the video, specifically to her leaving more to be desired, the court finds that these allegations, paired with general allegations found in the rest of the complaint detailing MindGeek's tools that are not neutral in nature but rather encourages criminality, are sufficient at this stage of the litigation when all reasonable interference are drawn in favor of the plaintiff. Additionally, the judge dismissed claims that Fletes violated the TVPRA based on concerns of direct liability. This means that the judge was not convinced that Aylo was not a direct actor seeking to benefit from human trafficking ventures. Repeating again, this means that the judge was not convinced Aylo was not a direct actor seeking to benefit from human trafficking venture. The judge permitted her claim, suing for beneficiary liability to survive, which is basically defined as a beneficiary of TVRPA restitution funds for trafficking victims by simply surviving the death of the trafficker. The judge also placed Flady's claims against Aylo of receipt, distribution, transportation of materials involving sexual exploitation of minors. He also dismissed a conspiracy to violate the TVPRA claims between Visa and Aylo. A spokesperson for Aylo declined to comment on the current status of the case, except for the following. Out of respect for the integrity of the court proceedings, our policy is not to comment on ongoing litigation. We look forward to the facts being fully and fairly aired in the forum. Now, the way it seems and the way it sounds and looks like to me is that a good chunk of this has been just swept away, which is mostly a lot of it, the Visa situation and a piece of the Aylo situation. Not all of it. The case is still ongoing to the point. Now, here's the thing that gets me. You have to remember to this point, always remember that this column was written, that the person that helped put this forward is Nicholas Kristof, who is an activist, has been going after the adult industry for quite some time now. He is indirectly aligned with Morality and Media and many other groups that have been trying to change obscenity laws in the United States. And if you notice how some of these people jump to documentaries and stuff like that, to the point to put the saying that how bad this company was. Now, not saying they're good, not saying they're bad, but understand this. Now, this Serena Fleeties, I'm not certain she's the one that it was her boyfriend that uploaded the video. I'm not certain if it's her, but one of the lawsuits, part of this case that brought it forward, was that basically a young couple that were underage. I think the man in question, he was over the age of 18. That basically they had sex, they filmed it, and he uploaded it to Pornhub. Now, who is in fault on that? Now, you could say Pornhub is in fault, that they should have checked the situation on there. Now, we don't know how he uploaded it. That's the major situation there. He could have falsified information. That's not coming out to that point. Can anyone lie in the industry itself? It has happened before. It has happened in history itself. If you're familiar with the Tracy Lords incident, Tracy Lords, one of the most prolific, popular porn stars of her era. Most of the films she made is no longer available. Has either been her scenes have been edited out or no longer available. I think there's only just one video that is legitimate where she was over the age of 18, and that was I Love You, Tracy. That's the only one. She falsified her identification that made her look that she was older when actually she was underage. So in this case, possibly, depending on how he uploaded it, because I've seen before, and I've gone through, Pornhub onto the scenes, and I've seen some videos on there that are called verification, where people have verified their videos that it is themselves, that they're in these videos. Now you might say, well, they might have AI, and no, this is before AI. That basically they basically identified themselves on the service to that point. But now, Pornhub does do a more extensive deep dive, asking for more information to that point. But there's always been a rule. Now, Pornhub, Aylo, MindGeek, they're in Canada. In the U.S. alone, the porn industry has kept records that they do on all their actors and actresses to that point. Now you're going to say, well, the Tracy Lords situation. Yeah, she falsified her ID. People falsify their IDs on the constant basis. Now, why has I'll tell you honestly, and I haven't seen any case, possibly there is, of the boyfriend being sued by the girl's parents. Why has he been arrested? Because he was probably, like I said, he was over the age on there. He uploaded to porn. He uploaded to the internet. Let's not say Pornhub. He uploaded to the internet. Pornhub may not be the only place he uploaded to. He may have uploaded to a dozen other places. Now, to this point, understand this, and this happens on YouTube also, and this happens on every other social media platform. When you upload certain things, they can be re-uploaded by other people. They may take a copy, re-upload it again, and then someone else grabs it and reload, and so on and so on and so on. That's why sometimes it's hard to get something off the internet. When people says, well, they're taking their time to get stuff to get it off the internet. No, it's not that they're taking their time. It's a lot harder to take stuff off if you have one video that's been re-uploaded 50 times, especially if it's gone to the same site itself. One thing that they do need to do is put up some sort of algorithm of videos being repeated so they can go over it. Maybe they do have it already. But as we say, this is starting to come apart. It looks like Visa's pretty much out of this. That's what it looks like as far as this goes, which in the case of Visa is just a payment processor. And yes, they're not supposed to get involved. If we're talking from the anime manga end, to get themselves involved in the sales of products. How a company sells its products, who they sell it to, and stuff like that. Here they're being accused of, taking money from certain sites that they claim that they knew that they were a porn site. Now, I doubt highly that when someone pays for something on Pornhub, that it comes up as Pornhub. It has to come out to some sort of LLC. It's the same. How can I put this? Back in the day, and I'll tell you this, back in the day, before the adaptation of the internet, that you were able to get stuff in streaming, stuff like that, sometimes you would buy pornography basically by catalog. Because not everything you could find in your local store, if you happen not to be in New York City, which at that time period, New York City, you had a ton of places you could find stuff. But there's a terminology called brown bagging, which goes for liquor, but it also goes for how pornography is shipped out. In other words, it's in a brown paper wrapping with just with an unusual company name to it. It won't say Pornhub. It won't say Playboy. It won't say Penthouse or any other company. It'll just be a brown paper wrap. I mean, these days, I think probably if you're ordering something on there from them, it probably might be stamped with Playboy, but I doubt it. I doubt it these days. Because, it's nobody's business what's in that box. Even Amazon that ships out stuff on there, even regular product, has a selection, because like if it comes in one box, say a lighting grid comes in a box, you don't want people to say that you bought a lighting grid, so you have them box it up secondly, so in a larger box, right? Because you don't want to hide what you purchased on there. You don't want people to know your purchases. And that goes to show in the adult industry, this is not uncommon. It's pretty much out there constantly to that point. So in the Visa sense, they're taking in money from a company. It depends on how it's taken in and what's the listing for it. They ain't going to look around and say, oh, are they a porn company? They're not looking at that. Now, in the other case of the anime manga, yes, somebody out there is doing that, which is, in the other sense, wrong. They shouldn't get themselves involved in the situation. Them getting in trouble for something that basically they're not doing versus what they are doing. I mean, they could end up a big lawsuit on the other half. You know, that's something separate. You know, we'll be discussing more of that on Taco Thursday, because there's more stuff coming out as far as that. But like I said, Visa, they're just a bank. They take in money. It's as if you've collected money. Say, for example, you have in a porn store, and you sell lingerie, you sell, you know, all this stuff on there, and you take your money, and you go to the bank, and you have your own company name, and it doesn't say adult video store, it doesn't say porn store or anything like that. You have a company name that you use, that you gotten your license under. The bank teller ain't gonna know who it is unless he shops in your store. He ain't gonna know and says, "Oh no, okay, hello, Mr. Johnson, how you doing today? Oh, you did very good. Here you go. Here's your ticket. Boom, that's it. You're gone. Your deposit, it's done. Your money's in your account." And yes, I know you're gonna say there are people that are looking at whose account, what business you're doing the account, because you know you have some porn stars that basically have lost their accounts, and that's wrong too. I mean, it is. This is a whole mess. This case is a whole mess in itself, and I was not surprised that the judge was going to basically start dismissing stuff. You know, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with a couple of other cases out there. Backpage is another thing on there that parts of it have fallen apart as well. But we're going to continue to monitor this. So drop a comment. Tell me, what are your thoughts about this? Is this case going nowhere? Is this going to end up maybe getting dismissed? Or are they going to go forward with this case? Just let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe. And as far as the comments line, you know, be nice in there. Keep the language safe, because basically I know there's a lot of people. I'm saying some good people that have been a little upset on certain things, and the language has been a little rough, and the YouTube gods have put them in the corner. In other words, they've just shoved them off to the side on there. And some of them have disappeared. I mean, actually, they have disappeared from the site before I'm able to look at the comment to there. So, like I said, keep the comments good. You know, let's keep the discussion rolling. Also, don't forget, check out Sci-Fi Snobs Babylon 5 Retrospective every Wednesday night, right here on YouTube, 11 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. Sci-Fi for Me, daily videos, live videos. Subscribe to him so at least you know when he goes live. Top Lofty Lounge on the Sci-Fi Snob channel as well. 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube as well. So, until next time, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye now.